out there. Get in the game, 'cause it's overtime.
Welcome back to Overtime Fantasy, where we go beyond the whistle to bring you home a fantasy championship. I'm Mike Kinder. I'm here with Phil Corella, and our special guest is still here because it's only been about 45 minutes. We just can't get enough of this recording. How you doing, Brian?
Yo, what's going on, Overtime Fantasy? I'm doing good. I'm, putting back a couple cold Rockies, and life is good. Happy Friday, everybody.
Bro, you nailed that intro like a split hog.
Like a split hog.
I'm serious, man.
A split hog. Can you explain that?
Yeah,
I like it.
They hang it up there and they nail it to the wall and like split right down the middle.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
some people like to put them over a campfire, turn a little bit, knob at a time, keep it rolling. I love the energy. First F-bomb on Overtime Fantasy right there.
First one. Way to go, Phil.
I
Way to
love it.
ruin Overtime Fantasy for everybody.
Hey,
now,
if you're not over 18 listening to this podcast, go home.
now I gotta hit the explicit, ticker when I load this onto Spreaker now.
Whatever, dude.
Thanks a lot, Phil. You ruined that for everybody.
Phil, I liked it.
It was an Overtime Fantasy first. It had to be done.
Overtime Fantasy slip up.
Mike, that was a really good intro. What are we talking about today?
I have no idea. We're just
We've
spitballing
talked
right
about
now.
Phil and I together. We talked about the running backs. All three of us just got done talking about the quarterbacks. The rookie running backs, rookie quarterbacks. So it only makes sense that we talk about the rookie wide receivers. So just jumping into it, we're going to start this out with Brian. This guy has been talked about a ton. DK Metcalf is all over social media, all over the ESPN news. Like this, he's just been the most talked about guy because of his Instagram photo.
Physique.
I'm kind of curious if he would have a better WWE career or a better NFL career. I'm going to go with the NFL, but I'm saying if it doesn't work out, he can probably go right to WCW, wrestling championship.
Yeah, so Metcalf made it really big, obviously, a month or two ago with his photos, his body fat, his size. When he was at Ole Miss, yeah, he played well. He's got decent stats. But he is a freak of nature. He's uncommon. Quick twitch for a big guy. He's fast. He's going to go in the first round. That's pretty much seems to be a lock. For fantasy, of course, this guy is going to be a number 1 or number 2 receiver. The question's going to come down to, is he really as good as the hype? Is he going to translate to the NFL that quick?
Yep.
Is he going to help you pick him in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round? Is that going to make sense for your fantasy team to use him as your number 2 wide receiver on your fantasy depth chart? I don't know the answer to that yet. He does... he possesses a knack for dropping the ball. That is one hit against him, and that could kill you. But anyways, I think he's going to be a good NFL receiver. I don't know if he's going to transition right off the bat as the number 1 probably draft pick for receivers this year. I don't know if he'll transition to a 1,000-yard receiver, 8-touchdown guy for you.
I think the big thing with him is how just a raw athlete he is. He's not a chiseled wide receiver in my book. He's not a guy that's going to run every single route on the route tree. He's a guy that will, he's going to be a amazing red zone threat. He has freakish athleticism in him, so he can make these crazy plays, and he has a whole bunch of ability in the tank. But I just don't see a lot of college tape to put towards his NFL number 1 wide receiver draft pick status. I mean, like you guys said, his whole hype around him, it's based off his physical attributes. He ran a 4.3. He's 6'3", 230 pounds of straight muscle.
Yeah, 6'3", 230.
Basically, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you put him up and you compare him to guys just by his physique as a Terrell Owens, a Calvin Johnson.
Josh Gordon.
A Josh Gordon, right. And Josh Gordon was another raw talent, freak of nature type of a player. Mm-hmm. Can he become a Josh Gordon, a Megatron, a T.O.? Maybe within time, but he has to learn how to run every single route on the route tree, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think he's getting a lot of hype for what he looks like.
Yeah.
It's, like Brian said, it's got to transfer over to the NFL.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. And it's a whole different ballgame up there. I mean, I think he can get it done, but let's just see.
I think real quick to end on him is he might go as early as number 7 to the Jags. I think they're saying. So we'll see.
That's what I was about to ask.
Use him.
That's what I was about to ask.
Jaguars. You got Nick Foles now. You add him with Fournette running the ball.
You got Alshon Jeffrey.
It's pretty dangerous. Or obviously the 49ers, but I don't think they're going to pull the trigger that early in the draft.
No. I'd see him going to like the Lions. You know, I think
like a Megatron
I think
type
if he
guy.
gets past the Jaguars, I think he definitely goes to the Lions. I think that'd be a good spot for him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's getting past Oakland.
Really?
I don't. You stick him with Antonio Brown, that's nice.
But they also got Tyrell Williams, and
so what?
You think they would do another?
This league is turning into nothing but passing.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
You can't have that many. You can't have enough receivers on our team.
Who's running the ball though for Oakland?
They got another draft pick coming. I think it's gonna be Josh Jacobs.
Anyways, all right. Who's next? DK Metcalf from Ole Miss.
So Phil really is chomping at the bit to talk about his teammate. DK Metcalf's teammate at Ole Miss is AJ Brown. What do you know about him?
They should have been national champs with those two guys.
Right?
I looked at so much film on Ole Miss because of these two guys. I'm like, this is crazy. And not to mention, I'm gonna get a little bit off topic here, but they have another wide receiver out there that is another physical specimen. So I don't understand how their offense must have been completely terrible at the quarterback position, which it was. This kid was not looking at DK Metcalf or A.J. Brown the entire game sometimes. A.J. Brown would completely dust the guy off the line of scrimmage, and the quarterback is looking at a tight end. So anyways, yeah, let's talk about it. A.J. Brown. Talking about a guy who can run every single route in the route tree. You're talking about a guy who will be in the slot. He's 6'1", 6'2", 233 pounds, and he's just chiseled. And he runs a 4.49. This guy can be, to me, he looks like Des Bryant.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
The way he runs his routes, the way that he goes about, catching the ball, he's physical. He can take a beating, and he's not afraid to go over the middle, and he can do a lot of things after the catch, which I like most about him. He gets the ball in his hands, and it's like, all right, give me the ball, watch what I'll do with it.
All right, Phil, question.
Questions.
You're the GM of a team that needs a wide receiver. They're both on the board. DK or AJ. Who we taking?
What team am I?
Ooh, I like it. See, that's a real GM strategy. Perfect answer. Let's just say that, I don't know, why don't we go with the Jags? Where are we going? Who you taking?
If you're going with the Jags, you're definitely going to go DK Metcalf.
Yeah, big body, big frame.
And the reason why is you need that guy that Nick Foles can throw the deep ball to.
Yeah,
and that's easy. But if you are a team, let's say the team that he left, the Eagles.
Right.
I'm going A.J. Brown, guaranteed.
Okay.
You already have
see
the
that.
Alshon Jeffrey.
You got the big guy.
You already have you have what you need in A.J. Brown. This guy is going to be a difference maker for a team. If he goes, I hope that he goes to the Packers because it would be amazing to see him and Devontae Adams on the same team and him having Aaron Rodgers throw him the ball. They just lost Randall Cobb, which Tyler says is the big vocal point for Aaron Rodgers' downfall last year.
Whatever.
Anyways, shout out to Tyler.
Tyler gets a whisper in on that one.
Anyways, so if they lost their slot receiver, A.J. Brown could be a definite contribution to their offensive team. So, yeah, I like him a lot, and I think he will be a difference maker in the league. Fantasy-wise, depends on what team he goes to, but he's gonna be he's gonna be on your team by the end of the year, definitely.
Yeah. And keep this in mind for all our listeners. With the wide receiver, it's so much different than a lot of these positions, like a quarterback, a tight end, all these positions. There's not a lot coming in that are going to be fantasy relevant right away. However, a wide receiver or a running back can be relevant within week 1 to week 4. Like, it happens way quicker. There's 3 wide receivers on the field at all times. Running backs, they churn them out. 3 running backs carry the load. There's a couple that carry the whole load, but anyways, these receivers there's a lot of chances for them to play immediately.
Absolutely, and that's instant relevance. So I love it. On to the next one.
On to
Jay-Z,
the next
what
one.
up?
Brian, you got Riley Ridley from Georgia.
Yep. Yeah, Ridley, he's a very interesting one. 6'1", 200 pounds. He's very competitive, very tough. His top end speed isn't good, but watching this guy in the SEC, you don't even need to dissect him as much besides watching his route and his route tree. He catches almost all of his passes. He doesn't have the big frame like a DK Metcalf, and he doesn't have the smoking speed of like I'll just give you a guy in the league, like a Deshaun Jackson. He's not super fast, deep threat, but the guy runs perfect routes, and he catches almost everything that comes to him. He played in the SEC, and he dominated. So I think this guy will, with the right fit, he's going to play somewhere right off the bat, I think. He'll be a number 2, maybe a number 3 receiver, but one of those guys like a Juju from 2 years ago when he was a rookie, and there's definitely a good shot to see him on your fantasy roster pretty quickly.
Question for you, though, buddy.
Let me get it.
Who runs better routes, him or his brother?
Oh, so do they know who his brother are?
I hope so.
So Calvin Ridley, obviously, is Riley Ridley's brother. I'm going to go with Big Bro.
Yeah?
Yeah, just maybe I'm saying that because he's already in the league. He's already learned, and I got to watch him last year, and I loved him with Atlanta, so maybe that's why. But think when they were both in college, it's hard.
Both in
Probably younger bro. Probably
Okay.
Riley's got better routes.
Okay.
But I didn't watch a ton of them, but I've seen a lot of their big games, and dude's a baller. So.
And looking at
What
his...
about Riley Fee? Do you think do you think he runs good routes?
Riley
or-
Fee is a stud in everything he
He
does.
runs good.
He runs
Riley-
good routes around the bar.
If Riley was here on the podcast, how many times would he have his junk out showing it to everybody?
Look, you tell him to run a post pattern to the bar, and he's running that precise.
Shout out Riley Fee.
Hey, Riley.
This might be Riley's first shout out, maybe.
Wow.
So we'll have to tag him in this post to make sure that he listens to this podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
Big shout out to Riley. Well, we'll say little shout out because we've all
Oh
seen
my
that.
god! Wow. Okay.
Who's next?
All right, so moving
Oh,
on.
the next guy, I'm just going to go on a limb and say it's probably Phil's favorite, but introduce him, Mike.
All right, so Phil wants to talk about Hakeem Butler from Iowa State.
I sure do.
Sure do, Bob.
Sorry,
Sorry, I tried to be a little professional there.
Yeah.
Hakeem Butler.
Yeah. I really like this guy. He shows great potential in his physical stuff. No, but this guy, I hit the first. This guy, Hakeem Butler, is 6'6", which scares a lot of people if you're a coach, because the last couple receivers who were above 6'4" have not panned out in the league. But this guy, watching his game film against, let's say, Oklahoma, watching him against Texas, watching him against West Virginia, seeing all the plays that he makes is kind of, it's a little Megatron-esque in a way. He'll go across the middle, make a one-handed catch, break 2 tackles, and go the distance for a touchdown. That is saying something. Regardless of what league you're in, regardless of where you're playing, that's saying something. Now, the biggest thing with a tall wide receiver, Brian, is what? Is can get out of his breaks, right?
Yeah.
Can a guy that's 6'6", Kinder's height, run a dig route and actually break, not like
And break
completely
down a
off
corner
streets.
in a way, too.
Right. Get the corner to come up to the top of your route to get the defender to actually make a move and then hit your route. Can he get that way? And my answer is yes, he can. He's a guy that can run every single route. He's physical. He likes to block. He will definitely be one of the first 3 wide receivers taken in this draft. And if he's not, I will be surprised. I really will.
I don't disagree. I agree with you. Didn't see a lot on him, but watching a little bit of film on him in his combine, I mean, the guy has everything you want in a receiver to have an immediate impact.
Right. And after seeing his 40, I was convinced because I thought for sure his 40 time would have been like a 4.6, but it was a 4.4.
Yeah.
So seeing that, seeing his vertical, seeing how strong his hands are, and seeing how much of a natural ball catcher is what I'm trying to say. He shows potential to be a top receiver in this league, and at one point or another, if you don't draft him, in fantasy football, he could potentially be a pickup and stash type of a guy. So
he'll be drafted.
Yeah,
I think.
I think so.
Hakeem Butler, 6'6", running a 4.4. That's insane, man. That to be that tall, that big, to run that fast is it's incredible.
And you would think that height, red zone target.
Right.
No,
he breaks away from guys, catch and run.
Yeah, so far we've talked about DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, Riley Ridley, and we just got done talking about Hakeem Butler. Moving on, we have Brian wants to talk about David Sills from West Virginia University.
Yeah, so David Sills, he's 6'3", he's 210. He's got legit, Phil, I think. We talked about Will Grier already in our quarterback podcast.
the Mountain Man.
This guy has some of the most impressive ball skills that I've ever seen. However, he's very lanky, very skinny, lacks top-end speed. But when you can catch a ball that's thrown at you in a whole radius, basically, so if for you guys listening, a catch radius is anywhere your body can spin around and get to. This guy can catch the ball anywhere. He does not miss a football. And the reason we're talking about him is, he doesn't have that crazy 40 or that crazy strength and those photos of his body, but the dude catches a football, and that makes a difference in an NFL locker room. If you can catch the ball and run a route, you're probably gonna have a spot on a roster. And they're projecting him in the top 10 of wide receivers. Back end. I'm talking 8, 9, or 10. He'll be relevant. I'm looking forward to David Sills producing. Really, I don't know if he'll be a week 1 producer, but he's gonna definitely be picked up, and he's someone who dominated for Will Grier at West Virginia, and they scored a lot of touchdowns together.
And he's a guy that will end up going to a team, like I said before, that is already established. So he'll go to a team that already has a top wide receiver or a top 2 wide receiver.
Yeah, for sure. He's going to play with other guys that are beasts.
Which will give him favorable matchups for your fantasy team. So it's like, okay, who's your deep sleeper in this week? Okay, right. I'm picking David Sills because he's going to have a whole bunch of opportunities to get open in the red zone. Okay.
Yep.
Done. He is that guy. Now, how crazy would it be a team drafts DK Metcalf, and then in the 4th round, 3rd round, they get David Sills?
That's like bop.
Yeah. Kendra, you can shake it off if you want, but it's the truth. We speak facts here.
I hate you guys.
After the whistle.
Sorry, Kenner. That was a college joke when we had a good pass.
Bop.
We would say bop.
Duffy.
Duffy. You guys, I hate you guys
I
so
know.
much. It's the most annoying thing when these guys get together and they do that crap. Him and shout out to Luke, because Luke jumps in on it too. He knows
I love it. What a redneck.
And he does it after Kinder gets so annoyed. He's like, I hate you guys. And he'd be like, Duffy.
Budweiser and Duffy bop.
Duffy heavies.
Yeah, so
let's move it forward.
Yeah, let's get off this topic as soon as possible.
Bop.
All right, so moving on. Phil wants to talk about, help me if I mispronounce this name, N'Keal Harry.
Harry?
I almost said Harris because I had it wrote down.
Well, now you got me thinking about Home Alone because it's just
Harry.
But anyways,
did I pronounce his first name right? N'Keal.
N'Keal.
N'Keal Harry from Arizona State.
Yeah. So this is Juju Smith-Schuster 2.0 in a way. Juju.
That's a big label, man.
No, it's not really a big label. We've talked about this on this podcast so many times. I am not convinced that Juju is ready to carry the load in Pittsburgh. He's not.
Yeah, but as a number 2, you have to
said
agree
it perfect. You said it perfectly. A number 2.
Yeah, as a number 2, he's probably one of the best number 2s out there.
He's a good number
Juju
2.
Smith.
Yeah. Dr. Evil's the better, but he's number 2. All right. So, anyways, Juju is faster. I don't see a lot of speed and a lot of running away from people in the NFL from N'Keal Harry. He's a very good, in my eyes, a possession receiver. a guy that will get you a lot of PPR points.
PPR.
PPR.
Pow!
PPOP.
PPOP. Absolutely. That's my nickname in Hawaii. I just looked it up on Google. Anyways, yeah, I like him. He's a guy that has very strong hands in the red zone. He's a tall, physical receiver. He will block you. He will, do everything that an NFL team wants you to do. But when it comes to fantasy points, he's going to need that top receiver next to him in order for him to be relevant this year. I think so. I see physical attributes like Anquan Bolden at times, and then I also see something along the lines of a Juju, which is, I need to be man-on-man coverage. I need to be, away from the top corner. He can be on the top corner in the red zone because of his physical attributes, but throughout the entire field, he needs that other threat next to him, I think, to be a dominant fantasy owner, the relevant receiver.
So a little off topic because that just seems to be what I'm doing here in this podcast.
Let's keep it going.
Every time you say a Juju, because that's like the third time in this podcast, not this particular podcast, but in podcasting in general,
a Juju.
You'll talk about a Juju. I just think about like that a Juju like French dip sandwich.
That sounds so good right now. That sounds amazing.
Let me just. You know how like someone's like, oh, let me show my age, let me show my weight here, a Jew. All right, so sorry about that.
Let's talk about.
Yeah,
let's keep it moving, man.
This is one of the ones I'm most excited for.
I think me and Brian right now are spitting some crazy knowledge on you, and you're talking about a sandwich.
Are you trying to eat? I mean, we went to Pop's Diner this morning.
We're talking about
shout out Pop's Diner if they want to be a sponsor. They can be a sponsor any day of the week.
Look,
I had an omelet and pancakes.
There
and
is one thing,
yummy.
Kinder. There is
and
one
a chocolate
thing.
milk.
Oh my God!
Hey, hold on. I've been really into chocolate milk a lot lately because my son, that is his favorite thing. So I try to get the best chocolate milk for him. So I've been addicted to chocolate milk lately.
Look,
all right.
No, hold on. League, show me your TDs. Me and Brian are dropping hold card facts. I mean, just
they're cold.
They're so cold. Blue as the Rockies, and Kinder's coming in here with sandwiches. Are you surprised? Let us know.
So the next guy we're going to talk about is Marquise Brown, Mr. AKA Hollywood. Call him Hollywood because he's from Hollywood, Miami. This guy's 5'9", fastest guy in the draft. He's a burner. He's a Deshaun Jackson, Brandon Cooks, speed demon. I think this guy's being talked about 8th for us, but he's going to end up being probably one of the top 2 receivers coming out of this draft. He has terrifying top-end speed. And, of course, the knock is the size. Oh, he's too small. He's this and that. Well, another fun fact for you. Cold hard fact, Phil, for you.
Cold hard.
His cousin is Antonio Brown.
Yep.
Though I disagree with how Antonio Brown's handled the last month, this dude is a baller like his cousin. He's going to make an immediate impact. He can run by everybody in the NFL just about.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, if you name him with guys like Deshaun Jackson and Brandon Cooks.
Too fast.
Too furious.
Yep, boom. Cold hard fact.
Too fast for y'all.
Thank you.
Okay, real quick, I don't want to get off topic again, and I'm not going to like Mike, but Mike's holding up a fantasy championship ring, and the trophy is now angled facing me and Phil, so this is bullshit.
Yeah, it is. That's the only way to put it. Oh. The ring doesn't fit your finger.
Hey, they don't make it in my size, okay? They only go up to a 14, and I'm at least a 16.
You're 18. You're legal enough to smoke cigarettes with your hands.
It's close. It goes to my second knuckle at least.
Your
all right, so
it goes to your schnuckles.
So moving on. Let's keep this train rolling.
I like to
move it.
Thank you.
That's a good one, man.
I like it.
That's been our thing in the last couple podcasts.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on, Phil, you want to talk about J.J. Arcega-Whiteside?
Yeah.
From Stanford.
I'll talk about
Sega!
him. I'll talk about him. If that didn't break your eardrums.
Shout out to Sega, our new sponsor.
Nice. I like it.
No, we're not sponsored by Sega. I'm just kidding.
It could happen. All right, so J.J. Arcega-Whiteside.
Ooh.
in my opinion, he is a guy that is like David Sills in a way. When Brian was talking about his catch radius, as to all he needs is a little bit of space, and he's going to catch it. So behind you, below, top, everywhere, he's going to catch the ball. Both of his parents were athletes, I found out. His dad was a basketball player, and he actually plays receiver like a basketball player. He will box you out, and he will make space to catch the ball. So he's more of a physical guy. He's 6'3", 225. He's a big red zone target. I can see him maybe going to the New Orleans Saints and team up with Drew Brees to be another Jimmy Graham. I see him being that guy because he shows a lot of quickness that, a lot of people don't give him credit for. But if you watch his game film, his routes that he runs are top end. I mean, he probably runs the best routes. He's the top 3 route runner in this draft, I would say. After watching a lot of game film, his get-off moves are... You can tell his work ethic is really good. He has a high motor, and he catches everything thrown his way in the red zone. So I like him. I actually think he will go to the Saints and be a other big target alongside of Michael Thomas.
I like that. I think you nailed it. Wouldn't that be crazy? Him next to Michael Thomas?
Yeah.
Holy cowabungo.
Holy cowabunga.
What do you think about that, Kenner? Cowabungo or cowabunga?
Cowabunga.
Michelangelo.
Did you...
No, him and Michael Thomas would be...
Where did Michael Thomas come from?
Ooh, where did he come from? I don't know.
Trash.
Ohio State?
Trash.
But
Now, I'll tell you this. Michael Thomas is our only celebrity superstar to give us a like on Twitter.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
I
also,
posted a picture of him catching against Alabama. He caught a sweet catch in the corner of the end zone. I was like, hey, they basically just said, so excited to see, at Michael Thomas, do this again against, I forget who they were playing that day. And he come in and gave us a like. I was like, dude, this is awesome, dude. Michael Thomas saw us. Saw Overtime Fantasy. This is great.
Hell yeah.
All right, so back on topic. Moving on.
Yep.
Let's talk about the next receiver that you have, Brian. Who is this?
It's McCole Hardman from Georgia. 5'10", 188. Pure baller. Only played receiver for 2 years. He was a All-State defender, and he was Georgia's All-State high school quarterback of the year and won the state championship. Transferred over to receiver when he got to Georgia, and look at him now. He's going to be a top 10 receiver coming out of Georgia. Dude can run routes, catch the ball. There's not a lot of knocks on him. Size, obviously, they see the number 5'10", and they say, we want 6 foot plus and this and that. But there's too many good receivers that are 5'10", so that never should stop anybody. I think he'll be, like Phil was kind of saying about the last 2 guys, he'll be someone, Hardman will be someone who can probably play pretty quick. Just a matter of having that right number 1 next to him, and then he can be a beast. So that's 2 Georgia guys and 2 Ole Miss guys we've talked about in the top 10 receivers.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Absolutely.
I did see one knock on him that he only had 2 touchdowns against SEC opponents. So they wondered about, his playability.
Yeah.
Did he score all those against, snowflake teams?
Yeah. So, so moving on, that's McCole Hardman. Moving on from him is talking about a guy from Ohio State. Phil's going to talk mostly about him. I just want to kind of introduce him a little bit. Paris Campbell. He's the type of guy, man, at Ohio State, you wanted to see the ball in his hands. When the ball got in his hands, you didn't know what was going to happen. So tell us a little bit about Paris Campbell here, Phil.
Well, to me, when the ball got in his hands, I knew exactly what was going to happen after watching all this film. I mean, he was going to do something with it. So I looked at a lot of his film, and I was looking at I mainly looked at the Michigan film because just the whole rivalry game. How will he do in that atmosphere? Right? He tore it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Michigan had one of the top defenses in the league last year.
They were number one when they played Ohio State, I think.
Okay, you probably know more about that than I do.
They were either number one or number two. I know that for a fact.
And he shredded them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cold hard fact or no?
Cold hard. Like the Rockies.
Like the Rockies.
Like the Coors Light that we're
Are you drinking one of them?
Shout out to Coors Light, our new sponsor.
New sponsor.
Oh, I've been to Coors
right.
Brewing. I have an inside there.
Oh, yeah.
Because I drank so many Keystones when I was underage, it wasn't even funny. And nobody knew what a Keystone was. But shout out to all my Florida boys and those cold Keystone crankers we used to drink on the beach, baby.
Always smooth.
Always smooth.
Always
as
smooth.
cheap as Natty Light, too, baby.
Hold my stones.
Yeah. Keith Stone.
So,
Getting back on the track.
So back on track.
So-
Tell us a little more about
All right,
Paris
so
Campbell.
Paris Campbell, he was tied for first in the 40-yard dash in the NFL Combine with Andy Isabella. So he has the speed. He ran a 4.3 140. It's kind of crazy. He's 6 foot. He has the same comparison to me. I was watching a lot of film, like I said, to Jeremy Maclin. Now, he's faster than Jeremy Maclin, but when I say his attributes is his route running, his ability to do things with the ball after the catch is what impresses me the most. He can be used in a jet sweep. He can be used in a complete go route, dig, drag, out, hitch, all these things that Kinder has no idea what I'm
sluggo?
saying. Sluggo is probably going to be his most used route next year. So basically what I'm trying to say is he's made for the NFL. This guy is going to go to a team and he won't be the number one guy. I think like I said, he needs another guy next to him that is the number one for him to be fantasy relevant. Yeah. But look out because he's going to get the ball and he's going to go. He's going to leave people behind.
I watched, and I hate to tell a story when I don't know the exact game, but I watched the game at the end of the season. Might have been, I'm not sure, bowl game, play. I don't know what it was. Ohio State needed to score a touchdown. They threw a seam route to him. He got hit so hard in the end zone, and he dropped the ball. He got up a little shaky. They took him off the field. Third down, he came back on the field after first down. They needed to score with like no time left. I don't know if you guys remember this game.
I think it was against Maryland.
They threw the ball to him again. He got lit, caught the ball, scored the touchdown, and Ohio State ended up winning the game. But the announcers, I remember them talking about Campbell and saying, this is unheard of. The guy just got annihilated, went off the field for a play, came back, coach called the same play, and he caught it, got hit just as hard, held onto the ball, got a second chance.
I think it was against Maryland.
It might have been. I can't remember.
It was one of the tight games where if they lost, they were out of the playoff picture. They were trying to get into it and all that good stuff. So,
yeah, Paris Campbell it's sad to see him leave Ohio State, but he's gonna do big things in the NFL. You know, it may not happen this year, but he's a very talented person. He is a competitor. He catches everything that comes near him. He's the type of guy that when the ball's in his hand, he tries to make something happen, and he normally does.
Yep.
At least in college. In the pros, it's not gonna transfer as well, but he's gonna make things happen in the NFL.
ooh, my favorite.
Brian, this guy we're about to talk about. Is he your absolute favorite receiver? I know you probably don't think he's the best receiver, but is he your favorite to talk about?
Yeah, he's. Well, so this is a sleeper, right, Mike? We said we wanted a sleeper, someone who's not in the top 20 going in the draft for wide receivers.
Yeah.
This guy, obviously, anyone who watches college football has seen him on the big stage.
Yeah.
This guy is about an inch taller than me, which tells you something. He's very short. Anyways, he played at Clemson, Hunter Renfrow. Going into the draft, he is a guy who is identical, in my opinion, to a Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, Jeremy Curley, in-and-out receiver, can hit the routes quick, catch every ball that comes to him. And what this guy is going to do is he is going to be the third receiver on a team, guaranteed, and he is going to get so many targets. Almost this guy will be way better than him, but he's almost like a Cole Beasley for you guys who are big Dallas fans. I know a lot of people who listen are Dallas fans. Cole Beasley, trash compared to what this guy is going to do in the league. This guy, Hunter Renfrow, at Clemson, had 17 catches, 180 yards, and 4 touchdowns in 2 national championships against Alabama. Think of that. Alabama, 4 touchdowns, 17 catches, 180 yards as a slot receiver. I think he's a sleeper for all you fantasy gurus. He's going to be out there. He'll definitely be out there. I would almost pluck him in the 16th, 17th round before your draft ends. I'm telling you, he'll be someone who will be a star on a team, and he's going to definitely go, most likely, to any program he wants. He's going late, 3rd, 4th round, so who knows? A Tom Brady might get him. A Drew Brees might get him, and he will be such an addition to the short passing game, it's going to be unheard of.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, man, he reminds me of Brandon Stokely.
Yeah,
he doesn't have great speed,
little
but
bit
he
old
has
school. I like that.
He has great hands, runs perfect routes, and does what he needs to do to win games.
Yeah,
So, like,
competitor.
and he went to the Senior Bowl,
Yeah,
and what does he do? He tears it up.
yeah,
And everybody's talking about all these other wide receivers that are there, but Hunter Renfrow
yeah.
is the guy that you're talking about at the end of the game, and he's the guy that you continue to talk about at the end of games that you're not supposed to be talking about.
Yeah. He's like the Philip Lindsay of the receiving corps. Like
There you go.
He's a hard worker.
I like that.
He's somebody that goes out there and you compared him to Julian Edelman a little bit. He's got that same type of you got to work hard. You got to ball to be out here, or you're not going to be out here.
Yeah.
He will ball out and he will be out there.
Yep. For sure.
All right, so moving on to the last receiver to talk about, Phil, you have Anthony Johnson, and what do you know, from Buffalo.
Yep, he's from Buffalo, and he's a lot of people don't know this, but he's Jadeveon Clowney's cousin. So he spent a couple years in JUCO, and then he transferred over.
I thought you were going to say he spent a couple years in jail.
Well, we don't know this, but
in Aju.
and so basically, what he has done at Buffalo actually put them on the map in a way with all of his circus catches that he has. He in the red zone, he makes some crazy catches. I mean, you're talking about Chris Carter like footwork at the sideline. You're talking about a guy that when he played against, put it this way, watch the game film against Temple, and you will see what kind of a player this guy is. People don't know this, but he had one of his, and which I don't even know if I should even be breaking this news, but he had a family tragedy happen a day before the game against Temple. Temple right now has 2 players on defense that are in the defensive backfield that are projected to be drafted in the NFL this year. So, what does he do? He balls out. He has, right now, Buffalo had to score within the last couple seconds of the game, and Anthony Johnson catches a drag route, breaks 4 tackles, takes it to the house, and dives into to the pylon, scores, and wins the game.
Wow.
This is all after a very close person to him had, lost his life. So now, and he's been known as being injury prone and all this stuff, but this guy, when he's healthy, is phenomenal when it comes to making circus catches, and I think given the right circumstances, he can be a solid contribution to your fantasy team, and hopefully, I really am hoping for this guy to have a great career because he deserves it. He works hard. He has good hands, and he's a good
guy. I've seen a little bit about him. I definitely agree with you, Phil. I'm excited to see what he can do, too, when he gets in the league. So I want to ask Mike one question before we wrap up. Mike, what is a drag route?
Drag route's where they just drag right across the field, right? Is that
kind of like the way you ran gassers?
That's like a perfect way to put it.
Like real slow.
You can't answer that question wrong the way you answered it. Like that's a smart. That's a lawyer answer. You said, "Well, you just drag across the field." Well, no shit. We just asked what a drag route is. Of course, that's what it is.
Yeah, but it is like it's a short. It's a short pass.
There you go. So you understand it.
Yeah.
And you drag.
Wow.
I hate both of you guys.
Hey, what's a slant route? When you slant across the field?
Yeah, I know the slant is. You slant across
Yeah,
the
but
Yeah,
a
you
slant,
easily-
a slant is more of an angle, where a drag is more of like you're
Flat.
coming straight across, right? Come on, guys. I know a little bit.
You.
All right. So that wraps it up. We just talked about all of our wide receivers that we're looking at coming out of the draft this year. We're real excited. It's 2 weeks away. We are pumped up to watch it. Phil and I will be together. We'll probably be FaceTiming with Brian because he'll be all the way down in Florida.
Ugh.
That's not fun.
I miss bad news, though.
I know, right?
It's good to be here.
Yes, it's good to have
Guys,
you
I
here.
got to go to I'm just going to let y'all know, I got to go to a rehearsal dinner tonight of a wedding that my wife's in. But unfortunately, Overtime Fantasy, I don't know one person at this wedding. And I have to sit at my own table. They're having the wedding party are sitting by themselves tomorrow night. So I'm going to sit with 8 strangers. I'm not looking forward to it, but
Well, see if they play fantasy football, and you can
Just-
pitch
yeah,
this
there
to
you
I
them.
know no one there is going to be listening to this, so I figured I'd talk about it.
There you go. Just pound some of those Rockies, and then
Deal.
you'll be opening up like a book.
Cold hard
Well,
rocks.
We appreciate everybody listening. Once again, visit www.overtimefantasy.com. You can, click on all of our social media pages from there. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Good night.